Hello, good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of Your Manchester. And I'm Mark Llewellin. And we have a very packed show for you tonight. We're going to be finding out what's coming to the Bridgewater Hall later this month. We've got theatre reviews, upcoming theatre news. We've got Hospice Care Week. We have TV stuff. We have weather. It's really, really packed. And if you're wondering where Belinda Scandal is, I think she's gone somewhere exotic. Where has she gone? Oh, Blackpool. Well, I didn't know there was a Priory clinic there, but I'm sure she'll be sorted out, ready for next week. So let's crack on with the show. And we've got a wonderful guest joining us from the BBC Philharmonic Orchestra. It's Simon Webb.
Hello, Mark.
Hello, good evening. So you've got two wonderful concerts coming up at the Bridgewater Hall later this month.
We have. In fact, the first one's just this coming Saturday on the 15th of October, where we celebrate our centenary. The BBC Philharmonic has been going for over 100 years. We predate the BBC. We've been broadcasting from Manchester since May 1922. So we celebrate that this coming Saturday at the Bridgewater Hall.
Brilliant. So what can we expect for this first concert?
Well, we've got three pieces in the concert. One of them is a new commission from a young composer called Llewellin Cooper. And Llewellin Cooper grew up as a friend of Peter Maxwell Davies. Peter Maxwell Davies was a great Mancunian, or Salfordian, actually, composer, who moved to Orkney. He was very closely associated with the BBC Philharmonic. So we've asked Llewellin to write a piece that reflects his and our relationship with Peter Maxwell Davies. We then have a piece by Ruth Gibbs, which is called Chanticleer. And Ruth Gibbs, 20th century British composer, conductor, soloist. She conducted this orchestra. She played a piano concerto, her own piano concerto with this orchestra. And we're recording her works at the moment for the Chandos label. So we thought it'd be good to have Ruth Gibbs in there. And then we finish with Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, which of course everybody knows, wonderfully joyous piece. But what not everybody knows is that in 2005, the BBC Philharmonic recorded all the Beethoven symphonies and made them available as free downloads, which in 2005 was genuinely revolutionary. And we're just marking that fact that the BBC Philharmonic has always pushed those boundaries, has always done things a bit differently. Mm-hmm. When we made those downloads freely available, they were the most popular music downloads in the UK for quite a while. And of course, it kind of broke the model a little bit and was part of enabling this kind of great free access to music that we have now.
Fantastic.
So we're just marking that as well.
Fantastic. And the ninth that's a choral piece.
It is the choral symphony, and we're bringing our friends from Birmingham up. The City of Birmingham Symphony Chorus will be singing with us, and that's quite a spectacle because they sing it from memory as well. It's really, you feel like every one of them is singing just for you. It's a really powerful.
So it's going to sound absolutely fantastic in the Bridgewater Hall.
Yeah, exactly. And the Bridgewater Hall, the best possible acoustic to be playing. So a wonderful concert.
Absolutely. So then I believe the second concert this month is something entirely different.
It is. The only things that are the same are that it's in the Bridgewater Hall. It's the 29th of October. It's got new music in it and it's got the BBC Philharmonic. But the 29th of October marks our collaboration with the Royal Northern College of Music. We do a lot of work with the Royal Northern College of Music. They've got great composers coming through there, really interesting work happening. Emily Howard, Manchester-based composer, teaches composition at the Royal Northern. We've got a new work of hers called Elliptics. It uses a new poem by Michael Simmons Roberts, another great Mancunian, of course. Mm-hmm. We're also playing her Antispheres, which already exists, but we're playing that as well. After that, we're playing a piece by a young composer called Rob Laidlow. Now, Rob came to us. We offered a PhD, a doctorate, in researching composition and artificial intelligence. And he's gone very deep for the last 3 or so years into how artificial intelligence can be used alongside human creativity. He's very much a composer, and he's done remarkable work. He took the entire recorded catalogue of the BBC Philharmonic and over several weeks put it through an AI machine and saw what it come out with, and he's used that as part of the inspiration for it. He's done other work with AI. It's very much his composition, but it's exploring artificial intelligence. And anybody who's interested in computers, in new technologies, in how creativity is absolutely fundamental to our modern world, and yet AI also underpins everything we're doing, undoubtedly, including this podcast. Where those two combine is what we're exploring. So come along to that. There'll be a bit of chat, a bit of introduction to the ideas there, but also some great music, and two of the pieces never, ever heard. So you'll be there, the first to hear.
Absolutely brilliant way to celebrate the centenary. So where do we go to get tickets?
Bridgewater Hall. So the Bridgewater Hall website, you can access it via our website at the BBC Philharmonic, but go to the Bridgewater Hall website. Tickets available for this coming Saturday and for the 29th. If you're a student, they're cheap as chips. We do, our tickets are pretty affordable anyway, but for students, very cheap. So get in there, bring a friend, come along. This coming Saturday, we're even keeping the bar open after the concert. So come along and come join the orchestra for a drink at the bar after as well.
No, you can't say better than that, can you? Excellent. Thank you very much indeed, Simon. Two fabulous evenings there at the Bridgewater Hall, not to be missed. Well, if you're not going to go out and watch a concert or go to the theatre, you might want to stay in and watch the old telly box. Here's our Hayley with some recommendations.
Hi, I'm Hayley and welcome to this week's On The Box. How are you doing? Now, one of the things that I would love to recommend for Halloween month is Hocus Pocus 2. If you haven't seen it, why not? It is so easy, relaxed and just lots of fun, really. That is available on Disney. Now, on BBC and iPlayer, there is the wonderful Ralph and Katie, which is a spin-off from the series The A Word, and it follows a newly wedded couple who have Down syndrome. Don't forget the brilliant drama The Walk-In on ITV. That is based on the true story about a man who used to be involved in far-right groups but now works for a charity which is battling to eradicate far-right extremism. That is absolutely amazing. So if you watch anything this month, do watch The Walk-In. Also, good news, if you are a fan of The Crown, that is available, the new series on Netflix, of course, and it starts from the 5th of November, and this time it stars the wonderful Imelda Staunton as the Queen. Oh, before I go, don't forget, tomorrow it is the National Television Awards. Well done to all the nominees and the winners too. That's it from me. I shall catch you next time, and remember, stronger together. Bye.
Well sourced, well baked. Get any 14-inch New York style Nell's pizza for £7.77 every weekday 12 till 4 p.m. at our Canal Side bar, Nell's at Campus or Common in the Northern Quarter. Choose from our entire menu, including DU Roni Honey, Original Cheese and Vegan Deluxe. Follow us on Instagram at Nell's Pizza to find out more, or visit nellspizza.co.uk to book a table now.
A musical is coming to Manchester all about the life of a certain lady who definitely made her mark on the music industry, and I'd say influenced the music that we listen to today very heavily as a whole. From the musical Beautiful, about the life of Carole King, Kemi Clarke, who's playing Drifter, joins us now. How are you doing, Kemi?
Hey, I'm great, thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm glad to be in Manchester.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're from Manchester as well, aren't you?
Yeah, so it's great to be back in the home city, repping the community.
Repping the community, of course. Now, for anyone who doesn't know you, please can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
I'm Kemi. I am an actor and a musician, originally from North Manchester, and I'm currently in Beautiful, the Carole King musical, and so I was involved in acting and drama and stuff all through my childhood in Manchester, and then for some reason I was crazy and I decided that this is what I wanted to do with my life, and so
Crazy.
Yeah, I went to drama school, and then one thing led to another, and then here we are, back in Manchester.
And I believe you've only just finished drama school in 2021, haven't you?
Yeah, last year, which was interesting graduating during coronavirus, but we move.
We move. And how has it been going from, graduating in 2021 during the pandemic then, to now getting back on stage, performing, being where you want to be?
Certainly interesting trying to do that, because no one could have ever foreseen coronavirus happening to the extent where you wouldn't be able to go to an audition in the room for a job that you'll be doing in person.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, and so it was kind of interesting in terms of pretty much every round of an audition for the first round was via Zoom or via a self-tape, recording yourself, which wasn't necessarily the case for everything before coronavirus. So that was interesting to adjust to, but we're slowly getting there with the industry. Everyone's kind of adjusting.
Now, obviously, Carole King, definitely a huge influence on the music industry, having over 61 chart-topping hits in the UK alone. Now, what is this musical Beautiful all about then?
So, Beautiful is a musical that essentially just tells the story of Carole King's life and her relationship with her husband, who she also wrote her songs with, Jerry Goffin, and their best friends, the songwriting duo Cynthia Weil and Barry Mann. And it features all of a lot of Carol's greatest hits that she both sung herself and wrote for other artists. And it details her life right from the moment that she is a child. We have a track playing from when she's 3 years old, to being a teenager, 16 years old, writing her first song, going onto Broadway to try and sell her song, and then getting rejected, finally getting picked up, meeting her husband, writing her hits, and then eventually coming into her own and saying, I want to sing these songs myself that I've been writing for all these other artists, finding her own voice and winning a hell of a load of Grammys for it.
Now, you're playing one of the Drifters, aren't you? So how did they play into the story, and how did they have an influence on Carol's life?
The Drifters were a black band in the kind of mostly famous throughout the era of like the 50s to the 70s in the United States. Some of their bigger songs, which are included in the musical, include Some Kind of Wonderful, Up on the Roof, and On Broadway. And they were just an incredible vocal group of usually four black men who I think were really, along with a lot of other groups around that time, were a pioneer for black artists coming through in the industry and making their own. And literally one of the songs on Broadway, which is in this musical, is written, and it's about never stopping until you get somewhere, and no matter what people tell you, following your dream. And I think specifically as a black band and paying homage to them in their era, it's so poignant because that was exactly what they would have been told as black men at the time. It's, you're never going to be on Broadway, you're never going to do these things, but they persevered and they pioneered it, and now a lot of us can do that because of them.
I think it could be quite uplifting for people to just get out there, you know, with all of the cost of living crisis and everything going on out there behind us, you know. I think it could be quite nice for people to just get in the theatre, sit down, have fun, and just remember that people have dreams to follow and people can get places.
Fun is such a simple but big word for the show as well, because it is a jukebox of a lot of Carol's and Cynthia and Barry Mann's songs. There's a big nostalgia element for it. It's like a lot of people who wouldn't necessarily have even known that they knew who Carole King was will hear this and they'll be like, they're all of some of my favorite songs of the past 60 years or so.
Yeah.
So it's just something that is so fun. It ends with one of her biggest songs, Earth Move. And yeah, everyone can have a little bit of a dance, have a little bit of an enjoyment to a jukebox show.
That definitely rings true. I mean, when I was looking into Carole King, her life and her music, I didn't even realise that some of my favourite songs were from her, and some of the most recognisable songs on the planet made by Carole. Now, you know, that's driving me to want to go out here, get some tickets, because I like what I'm hearing. So if the people listening like what they hear, where can they find the tickets?
Tickets can be found on, well, there's a website for us, for the Beautiful UK Tour website, which you'll be able to find if you just Google that, which has the tickets for Manchester Palace and the rest of the tour dates henceforward. And as well as that, they should be on the Manchester Palace Theatre website.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Kemi Clarke, for joining us today. And I hope the rest of the tour goes well for you. And I can't wait to see you in the Palace. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, thank you to our Ollie there for that wonderful interview. Now, I don't know whether he's got his tickets yet, but our Stephen and Paul have. They've been to see it. Let's find out what they thought.
Hi, I'm Paul Walker.
And I'm Stephen Stockton, and we've just been to see Beautiful, the Carole King musical at the Palace Theatre,
which is running until Saturday, the 15th of October.
This is a new production telling the story of Carole King, the singer-songwriter, her rise to fame, and culminating in her critically acclaimed performance at Carnegie Hall. I've seen this musical before. Last time it was here in Manchester, and that was a different production to this. What did you make of this one, Paul?
I liked it. I didn't know anything about the musical to start off with. I didn't do any research because I wanted to see it with a fresh face. I have to say it was a little bit too scaled back for me, as in set-wise and everything. Very talented cast, because all of the cast were playing the musical instruments as well as singing the songs. Yes. But there was that much going on stage with them moving scenery around, and you could see them backstage. You could see the guys in the fly tower and stuff.
Yeah, it was people everywhere, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was a little bit too distracting. Yeah. But as far as the production was concerned, great singers. I have to say that Molly Grace Cutler, who was playing Carole, was absolutely phenomenal.
She was really good. She was really good. What about the rest of the cast?
I think that some little bits of work still need to be done, as it is opening night, and a few of the vocals weren't exactly on par with Molly Grace, get a full name in. But yeah, I think that with a little bit of time, I think that it will be a really good production.
Yeah, I think it's, like I said, I've seen it before. It was definitely a different production. It was just as good. The story's still the same, the songs are still the same, but I think the change in the set and the scenery and it all been a bit stripped back. Very different.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
It's the Leicester Curve production, and they quite often do things like that.
Right.
So it's a little bit different. A little bit different.
Yeah, it was good though. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Beautiful. The Carole King musical is on at the Palace Theatre until Saturday the 15th of October.
Tickets are still available, so go onto the ATG website or else go to the box office at the Palace Theatre.
Hi, Ashley Stone here for Your Manchester TV. I'm just back from the Lowry Theatre in the heart of Media City, Salford, where I've just been watching the brilliant musical The Colour Purple. Based, of course, on the novel by Alice Walker, it tells the story of two sisters torn apart for many years, but gladly reunited at the end. It's the triumph over adversity. It's the strength of the human spirit. It's a fantastic powerhouse performance by the lead cast members, as well as the supporting cast. Brilliant vocals, fantastic songs. Your two leads, of course, are the two sisters, which the whole story is based around, and they are, of course, Celie and Nettie, played by Misha Bryan and Elia Zane, and of course the horrible man that the poor Celine is actually married off to, and that is, of course, Mr., played by Akko Mitchell. It runs now at the Lowry Theatre until the 15th of October. You've got to go and see it. It's really, really a brilliant musical production. Fabulous, clever usage of lighting and staging, and it doesn't shy away from a few taboo subjects which are still very relevant today. So check it out. That is The Colour Purple, now running to the 15th of October at the Lowry.
Thank you very much, Ash, for another recommendation. Our cup runneth over tonight, doesn't it, with theatrical choices? And there's another one, because I want to recommend for you a new production, and it's being produced here in Manchester by local company Switch Manchester. And joining me now is director Gabriel. Good evening.
Oh, good evening.
So tell us all about this this production you've got coming along.
Yeah, so it's called The Other Side, a horror story, and it's a new play from our theatre company Switch MCR. It's going to be on at 53.2 from the 25th of October for a 2-week run until the 4th of November. And it follows this newly engaged couple, Ben and Claire, as they inherit this house after Claire's mum unexpectedly passes away. And when they move back, they soon find out things aren't as they seem.
Okay, so you've co-written it as well, I think, haven't you? What was the influence for it?
Yeah, so myself and my co-writer, Andrew Long, had produced a show a few years ago that was like a huge ensemble cast of 15. And we really wanted to challenge ourselves as storytellers and work out what we could do next and what would be challenging. And we just had this conversation of what are the two hardest genres we think we could write in. And we decided it would either be comedy or horror, because they're the two genres that require you to make people do something. Comedy, you want to make your audience laugh. Horror, you want to make them scared. So yeah, we set ourselves that challenge, and we're big horror nerds as well. So okay, a nice challenge.
Okay, so how scary is this? Do we need to be warned of anything?
Oh, I don't want to give anything away. There'll definitely be a few spooks, some jumps, and a few frights, I hope.
Okay. Very good. So is it a young cast, new cast? Are they permanent members of your theatre company, or how does that work?
So it varies show to show. For this show, all the cast are actually part of our company, so it's an internal production. We're all in our mid to late 20s, this cast, and there are 3 actors, 3 characters. I'm really trying to think what I can say that doesn't give it away. But yeah, it's all internally produced, this one.
Right. Okay. Brilliant. Now, some people recognise you from other things, a bit of telly and everything. What do you like best, or are they completely different genres? Telly, stage. What's your favourite?
Oh, I don't know. I've just come off the back of doing 2 years on Hollyoaks, which has been absolutely fantastic and really, really fun. And I've really missed theatre. So I would never choose a discipline, but I think the grass is always greener. Having done TV for 2 years, and when you're doing a soap, people forget that you're making like 250 episodes a year. So yeah, you're always filming. So there's not any time to go and do theatre. So I've as soon as I came out, I went straight back over to Stage World. And I am a writer and a director as well. And
I'd been writing bits, but not being able to have the time to direct. So I've been really getting the bug to do a little bit. So it's been nice to get back in the room.
It's normally the case that the telly pays for you to be able to do the theatre.
Yeah, that is also very true.
That's what I found anyway. So your company, you co-founded the theatre company. And how did that come about?
So the group of us in 2018 graduated from the Royal Exchange Theatre's Young Company programme. And like a lot of times when you finish jobs in this sort of industry, you all tend to end up going your separate ways, because a job starts and you might be working together for 6 months, for a year, but then that's it. You have to go and find a whole new group of people. But we'd all loved working together. So just had this idea, and it bubbled and bubbled for a while. And then we just said, let's do it. None of us knew how to start a theatre company or what it meant to run one. So we've all learned on the job. And almost 5 years later, we're about to open with our biggest production yet.
Absolutely fantastic. So as you say, this is at 53-2, which is in the Arches, isn't it, in the city centre? Yeah. So perfect venue for you. Perfect time of year, of course. Opens 25th of October through to the 4th of November. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, see, I can learn lines as well. So absolutely fantastic. And how do people book?
So you can get tickets on our website, which is switchmcr.com. And we are, as you mentioned before, in a cost of living crisis. So we've got unwaged tickets at £1. All our tickets are pay what you decide as well. We've got lots of stuff on for concessions, and all of our tickets are on our website.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, I wish you luck with the production, and I'm sure we'll be along to be scared witless.
See you there.
Thank you very much, Gabriel. Well, that sounds brilliant, doesn't it? I wonder how scary it is. Miss Belinda Scandal might have to be double gusseted. Right, now it's Hospice Care Week this week. And earlier in the week, I went along to Willow Hospice, which covers Tameside and Glossop, for a very special event. We're very lucky in our region to have lots of hospices throughout Greater Manchester and beyond. This week is National Hospice Care Week, and today at Willow Hospice, which serves Tameside and Glossop, the Lord Lieutenant has been to lay a memorial stone and to meet staff and volunteers. I was thrilled to be asked to take part.
Our volunteers are the lifeblood of the organisation. There are almost 500 of them here at Willowwood, and they do everything from working in the garden to caring in the kitchen and caring in the clinical part of the hospice. All of the services in the hospice are free, and we provide inpatient care. We have a dementia clinic. We have day services, so every aspect of people's health conditions can be addressed here at the hospice.
We're so lucky here in our region to have so many hospices available to us. We never know when we need them, but we're certainly glad when they're there to help us and our families. It's been a great day here. Please do support your local hospice. And the hospice movement is a fantastic cause. Now, while I was at Willowwood, I found out about a little theatre production they're doing. It's on the 19th of November at Hyde Festival Theatre in Tameside, and it's a Christmas carol. But not just any production, it's actually being performed by Charles Dickens' great-great-grandson, Gerald Dickens, and he's playing all 80 parts himself, and it's a fundraiser for the hospice, so visit willowwood.info or the Hyde Festival Theatre site if you want to have a look at that. Right, now it's been a bit of a miserable week. We said goodbye to Angela Lansbury, one of our biggest musical stars, and the news is relentless, isn't it? So let's see if we can be cheered up by that jolly weatherman, Paul Rudd.
Good evening, Mark. Hello there, my lovely weather watchers, and welcome to this week's weather forecast with me, Paul Rudd. I've come to the very beautiful Royton Park this week, and it looks very autumnal. Very windy, it's been very wet and wild of late, and that's going to follow through to the weekend's weather. So here's this week's weather details for Manchester. Thursday is looking like rain with sunny intervals with the temperatures of 13 degrees Celsius. Friday is also looking like rain with sunny intervals at times with the temperatures of 13 degrees Celsius. Looking forward into the weekend's weather right now, Saturday is looking like rain with sunny intervals with the temperatures of 11 degrees Celsius, and Friday is looking like rain with the temperatures of 12 degrees Celsius. So get your big coats on and get your umbrellas at the ready. Please take good care of yourselves when you go out there. time now to go back to the studio from me, Paul Rudd, here at Royton Park, back to the marvellous Mark Llewellin for this week's amazing episode of Your Manchester.
Thank you, Paul. We didn't cheer me up, did he? He loves a walk in a park, doesn't he, our Paul? Well, there we are. A bit of miserable weather coming up, but plenty of things to do. And go and have a laugh. Go and be scared, whatever you want to do this week. So thank you very much for joining me, Mark Llewellin. And do get in touch with us. We're on social media. In fact, we are everywhere. And join us next week for another wonderful episode of Your Manchester.